Today's program is sponsored by The Anthony Vincent Salon. Say hello to beautiful.
You're listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot and what's not. Get into the loop with us. I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise, and we're your radio gateway to what's trending with beauty, fashion, health, wellness, and sex.
Mostly sex.
Learn and laugh with us anytime, any place. Go right to our website, anthonyvincentsalon.com. Click away and listen today.
You'll be glad you did.
Oh, yes.
You know, we always have the most interesting things that we talk about.
Of course we do.
And we run the gamut. We're talking about, well, health, fashion,
wellness, beauty, and sex.
And mostly sex.
Yeah.
But, we don't talk much about marijuana.
I think we've spoken about marijuana.
Not a lot.
Did you want to add that to our repertoire?
You know, I think we should. I'm finding more and more articles about marijuana.
You know what's really interesting about it?
Pros and cons.
Well, there are a lot of pros and cons with anything, but what's really interesting is, there's marijuana versus medical marijuana.
It's the same stuff.
No.
All right.
Very, very different.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about marijuana products or just the marijuana itself?
I'm speaking about the difference between, hey, want to go get high, to, hey, I'm going to go eat this piece of chocolate that has cannabis in it so that I can feel better because I have cancer. That's the difference.
Ah, okay.
There's always that, hey, want to go into the garage and get high, or wait, you want to go get stoned in the basement, that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay. So you got any stories about marijuana?
I have a very funny story, actually, about medical marijuana.
Okay.
So I have this friend that his cousin actually owns a company where they deal with medical marijuana on a regular basis. They give it to patients that need it, that require it.
Is this here in New Jersey?
No, actually, it's not.
Okay, because the medical marijuana is...
No, it's actually based out of California.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so it's a very funny story. So this guy, this friend of mine, and his wife were testing this product. So it's with cannabis butter, and so she was having toast with this butter that is laced with this medical product. And so she has it, and about, she eats one slice with the butter, and about half an hour later, she's still feeling fine. So she has another slice of bread, half an hour later with this butter, and, she's kind of getting full, she's eating all this bread and nothing's happening. So half an hour later, she has a third slice. And he's getting really annoyed, and he calls his, his friend, his cousin, whatever it is, part of his family. And he's like, I think this stuff does not work. And all of a sudden she's tapping on the table and she's going, oh, it works. And she's looking at him. She's like, I am just gone. And it took a while for it to hit her system. Anyway, I guess because she had so much, all night long, she was completely wired. She was stoned out of her mind. The interesting part about it was, I guess because, again, she had so much, the next morning, she calls him from work. She's still high.
Oh, my God.
And paranoid. She's saying, they all know. They all know. All of my coworkers know. They all know that I'm high. So, that being said, keep it to a minimum. Just keep it to a minimum. Don't have too much.
Well, anything that you overdo is not good for you.
Well, of course.
But, the studies for these medical marijuana products, they use the FDA's gold standard clinical trial designs. And they reported that marijuana should be the first line of treatment for patients suffering from neuropathy and other serious illnesses. Now, neuropathy is a type of pain that's associated with diabetes, cancer,
right,
spinal cord injuries, HIV. And these trials that they did indicated that the marijuana controlled pain as good or better than the available medications.
You know, that's true. And another thing that it actually does also is that a lot of times when you're ill, especially, you know, some of these cancers and these different things, during treatments, you can't eat. And so that really, the medical marijuana really does help you, you know, maintain your level of nutrition.
You mean like the munchie thing that you're talking about?
Well, it's beyond the munchie thing. It's beyond that.
So I mean the foods that are infused with the cannabis?
Yeah. You know, another thing that, another story, years ago, one of the high school principals, years ago, I loved this woman, Mrs. Shalley, Constance Shalley. I don't know. Do you know her?
I do.
I loved her. She was also an English teacher, but she also became a principal. And my girlfriend Sharon and I loved her. We adored her. And we became very friendly with her. And she invited us to dinner one night. And if she's listening now, thank you so much, because the education that she gave us was outrageous. Loved her. So we're there one night, and these two little kids were there with us having dinner too. She invited her girlfriend's children over to have dinner with us and, you know, to hang out with us. And they were just sweet little kids. As it turned out, we found out later that their mother was dying. She had cancer, and she was very, very sick. And I remember Mrs. Shalley, and I call her that. I'm going to be 50 years old, and I still call this woman Mrs. Shalley. When I see her, it's hilarious. She was telling us that, of course, you know, it's still not approved, medical marijuana, but it wasn't even approved then. But I remember her telling us that she wished her friend would just smoke marijuana, smoke pot, she actually said, just so she'd be able to eat. She was just deteriorating so fast. And what she was saying was, you know, it was beyond the munchie thing. It was just a matter of eating anything. And with marijuana, you were able to actually, you know, the pain would go away for a moment, and it would take over the mind and take over the brain, and you'd just be able to eat and keep your strength up. Yeah.
Wow, what a great story.
She was amazing.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny how a high school principal from years ago realized what marijuana can
yeah,
do
and this was in the 80s
for sick people. And scientists all over the world continue to study the effectiveness of cannabinoids. And in Germany, there have been 37 controlled studies with over 2,500 subjects assessing the safety and the efficiency of marijuana. Now, since 2005. Now, here's the interesting things. FDA-approved drugs go through fewer trials with less subjects, but are approved for use. And even with the dozens of side effects that happen with these approved drugs.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And the chemicals that they use.
I really got to believe it's the drug companies and their special interest groups about them that keep the drugs that are manufactured, keep them distribute it, so it's all about money. And something as simple as a cannabinoid that can grow wild, actually,
and naturally.
And naturally.
Without chemicals. You know, I have to just say this one more thing. A lot of these medications, and people don't realize this, especially people that are gluten intolerant, they wonder, some of the side effects are terrible stomachs, and they actually put gluten in these medications as a stabilizer. Mm-hmm. We unfortunately found that out recently. My daughter was on a lot of medication for, an illness that she had, and she was having horrendous stomach pains. And I was asking, finally, I couldn't figure out why this would be affecting her the way it was. Well, we did some research and we found out there's gluten in these medications.
Amazing.
It's amazing. So I called the pharmacist to find out what would be, an alternative medication that would work. And unfortunately, the pharmacist didn't know what I was talking about. Oh, no, there's no gluten. I said, no, but there is. And I sent her the link to the site and I explained everything, and she was flipping out. This pharmacist couldn't believe this. So together we did some research and we found alternative medications for her. And now, she can take this medication without having the bad stomach side effect, which is great because, it would be a bad thing to not be able to go to work because you can't breathe, but you need to have gluten-free medication. So people need to be in the know, especially with this. But yeah, back to the marijuana.
Well, yeah, and back to the side effects. If you look at all of the drugs that they advertise on TV, and then the side effects, including, thoughts of suicide,
blood clots, stroke.
Yes, and even death. Who takes this crap?
Unfortunately, see, when they list a side effect, though, that's because it happened to one person or 3 people out of 30,000. So they feel that it's not that much of a risk. It's okay. You know what? Just take it. It'll be more beneficial.
I correct you.
No,
I didn't know this. They're not testing 30,000 people. The FDA gold standard clinical trials test less than 2,500 subjects.
Really?
And they'll do less than 37 studies for these drugs that are approved. More studies and more people have been used to study the cannabinoids than the drugs that they're putting on the market.
Well, now that's
and
just
then
really
2
sad.
or 3 years later taking them off because they're finding it's killing people.
Yeah, that's really sad.
That's the craziness.
That is crazy.
Now, medical marijuana has been shown to slow the onset of Alzheimer's disease.
Yes.
And moderate autoimmune diseases, including multiple sclerosis and rheumatoid arthritis.
That's amazing.
There's this drug out, which I can't remember the name of it. It just went out of my head for arthritis. And also, the side effects are blood clots and may cause death and suicide.
That freaks me out.
But yet, a little cannabis.
It's all about the cash.
The pain.
It's all about the cash. Cash
right.
flow and these big companies and the FDA. So thank you very much. It's unbelievable. Can you imagine how much can be helped with, so many different diseases and so many different health issues with something that's all natural?
When was the last time you heard of a disease being cured?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
It was polio. Polio was the last disease that was cured. And what happened when they cured polio? It destroyed a $1 billion industry throughout the world because now there was no treatment for polio. So learning from that, if you look at cancer and HIV and AIDS, they can keep you alive. They stop you from dying from AIDS because there is treatments that are available. You go for the treatment, and an HIV treatment can cost as much as $1,500 a month for the cocktail that they give you, and you can live forever for $1,500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
So why cure you?
Did you know that they're using the polio vaccine, the polio cure, that medication to cure other diseases now? Did you hear about that?
No, I did not.
Oh, well, this is a really great study.
Tell me.
I don't have all of the details on it with me, but I will tell you this. if you look this up, you can look up polio vaccine and curing disease, and it's amazing what you come up with. I'll bring it next time, and
we'll talk about this next
and we'll
week.
talk about this next week. But it's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. They're using this now to cure other things, and it's working. It's starting to work. I was talking with one of my clients about it. We were actually in amazement. I'm so sorry I forgot this information because it's so amazing. And the cocktail has to be just right. It has to be just right. They can't do too much and they can't do too little. It has to be just right. And they're using it to cure certain kinds of cancer. It's not yet been found that it helps for breast cancer, but it does help for other kinds of cancers. And since there's so many, it's really amazing. I'm going to get this information for you. And
I can't wait.
yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, the FDA is not here for us, the public. It is for the drug companies.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about the drug
I
companies.
agree. It's all about the money.
All about the money. Anyway, just to end this segment, there are medical marijuana capsules that are infused with coconut oil.
Of course, because coconut oil is so fabulous.
Yeah, it really is good. That's an alternative way to therapeutically use the cannabis without having to inhale it. And infusing the cannabis into coconut oil allows for easy entry into the liver where it can be rapidly processed.
Very cool.
Very, very cool.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got brows? Aching for an arch? Frame it, fill it, and flaunt it. Say hello to beautiful.
Want your beauty question answered on the air? Email us now from anthonyvincentsalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Good morning. Dina, how is longevity affecting retirement planning?
Well, 100 years ago, it was unusual to know somebody that was older than 80, right?
Oh, yeah.
So today, the average expectancy is, for most Americans, is 80 years old or even older. According to the Market Watch, a married couple who's age 65, there's a 1 in 4 chance that one spouse will live another 30 years.
Oh, my gosh.
Yep. And I'm sure we all in this room could say we know people that are, pushing 100 right now.
I actually know a couple of people that got those letters.
Yeah.
The presidential letters, yeah.
Yeah, so it's amazing. So I think even these stats are even too low. But that is definitely affecting retirement because of the distributions that people are taking, or
Right.
As they're withdrawing money, they're really worried about running out of money. I have a 98-year-old grandfather.
Wow.
Who is very worried about running out of money.
Oh, my gosh. My
And-
grandmother was 95.
Yeah, and it's very sad actually to be worried at that age.
Oh, gosh, that's terrible.
I mean, living longer is a blessing if you're healthy,
And a curse if
and
you
a
don't
curse.
have the money for it.
Exactly what I was going to say. So, if you're working to accumulate assets and you're young, you have that time on your hands, that's a positive for your future. But you also have to make sure that you're managing it properly for the long term so that you will not run out of money. So you won't get to be 98 and be worried about, oh my gosh, I have, only this much money left, and how can I continue to pay my bills and live in the same lifestyle? I mean, nobody should have to be in that situation.
Agreed.
And, if you're retired from a financial standpoint, it can be a risk and a challenge. And you may need to have a steady retirement income for 30 years or more. It's very difficult to have your money stretched out and to be able to make a plan for the unknown.
Exactly.
And so it's becoming more and more of a challenge in the financial field to actually predict and be able to give people the right investment choices for them. Because
so what do you suggest?
Well, I suggest that they still contact me.
Well, of course, that goes without saying.
And they definitely need to run financial plans periodically to make sure that the money that they are investing is going to be working for them for the long term.
Dina, would life insurance make a difference when, a couple is, older? Would that have a play in their investment strategies?
Absolutely. I mean, if they were young and they were smart, and they came to me when they were in their 30s, let's say, and just starting off with their families, or if they were just a couple starting off together and they're in their 30s and they're thinking of different strategies for their future and their future retirement and income needs, there are some wonderful retirement strategies using permanent life insurance, because permanent life insurance is kind of that outside the box thought of putting money away and not only getting the life insurance for your family and the protection that they need, but you can build up cash into that life insurance that you can pull out later. It comes out as a loan, but you never have to pay it back, but it's tax free. Okay. And then if you leave it to your heirs, it's also tax free. Now, I'm emphasizing tax free because
which is a huge, huge thing.
Right. Huge. Your money, there's so few investments out there that actually grow tax free today. And it gets back to, when we were talking about the CD in the last show, how rates aren't going up. Well, people used to buy a lot of tax-free bonds, municipal bonds as well. And the interest on those were much, much higher than they are today. So, we have to think strategically outside the box. And that's where I like to help people come up with these different solutions for their future needs and future retirement needs.
Now, you talked about a savings plan with their life insurance. Now, the life insurance is a face value, and if you die, you would get your $100,000 or $200,000,
or whatever you have in your policy.
Right.
But what was this thing you said you can borrow against?
If you have there's several types of life insurance. We won't get into it because we don't have that kind of time today, but there's permanent policies and there's temporary policies. I'm talking about a permanent policy. So a whole life, a variable life, a universal life, those kinds of policies.
To the term.
Right. As opposed to a temporary or term policy. A term policy, you only pay for 10, 20, 30 years and then it goes away. A permanent policy never goes away.
And it builds.
And it builds up cash within the policy
itself.
Right.
Now, that cash that's built up, if you die, does that cash go away, or does that cash value go to your heir?
Well, the cash will either accumulate and increase the policy amount, or so you can either take it out or you can leave it in there, whichever you prefer. But when I talk to young people about a strategy for their future, I give them ideas about, this money can be used later in life. If you have children and you want to help them give them money of a down payment of a house, if you want to pull money out and buy a second home for your vacation, if you want to use it for an additional savings for retirement for another source, it's there. It accumulates. But again, you have to do this to give yourself enough time for it to accumulate. You can't start this at age 60 and say, okay, I want the money in 3 years, because it won't grow.
That's why insurance is so important. This is a great conversation, Dina. We should definitely touch on the differences between all of the insurances next time.
Definitely. We will absolutely do that.
Perfect.
Because we work with disability and long-term care and all that.
And there's so much information. To reach out to Dina, why don't you give your email so people can reach out and find out all this information?
Okay. Well, you can email me at dcobrin, Kobrin, at nextfinancial.com.
You'll be glad you did.
Need a salon that's about the whole you? Precision haircuts, flawless makeup, impeccable nails, top-rated professional hair products. Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a hairstylist who has his finger on the pulse of all the latest trends? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a dependable salon with over 35 years in the industry? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for New York City and internationally trained stylists that will create the perfect look for you? Anthony Vincent Salon. Shine brightly while walking down the aisle. Anthony Vincent Salon. For longer, thicker, beautiful hair extensions, Anthony Vincent Salon. Salon. Incredible makeup applications for weddings, proms, or any special occasions. Anthony Vincent Salon. Have dry, brittle summer hair? Get a hot shot. Anthony Vincent Salon. Before you put a ring on it, manicure it. Anthony Vincent Salon. Your image is their specialty. For the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Anthony Vincent Salon. For a more beautiful you, call now 609-448-2212 and follow them on Twitter.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got flat hair? Want to blow it up? Squeeze and tease. You're volumized. Now it's supersized. Say hello to beautiful.
Want your beauty question answered on the air? Email us now from AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
Elise, we have a very special guest joining us today.
I know. I'm so excited. We are going to be speaking with Dr. Sarah Timapuri from Life is Great Global Foundation. And we came to know about LIG Foundation through our fabulous friend, Dr. Deborah Keegan, who is a member of the board of this amazingly charitable foundation.
Let's do it right now. As busy as you all are as doctors and members of the health community, how is it that you find the time to go to these other countries? And when you're there, how long are you staying there at a time, and how many times do you go there?
They're there for about a week to 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's correct. We try to keep it doable, which is very important because, like you said, everybody's working. The vast majority of our volunteers are not retired. They're all actively working, and very frequently they have a lot of social responsibilities. Most of our volunteers have children. Many are also taking care of parents, taking care of their families, and like I said, the vast majority have full-time jobs. So we found that one of the biggest barriers for people to be able to do this work is the inability to take long amounts of time off. So a lot of the large medical relief organizations require long time commitment. So right, 3
I've
months,
heard that,
6 months.
Months.
Yes, that's exactly right. Actually, because that was the same barrier we faced when we were trying to see, with whom could we go to Haiti. And so what happens is we saw the value of these shorter trips because it could greatly increase the number of people who would be able to volunteer. So what we do is we keep the trips short enough that a person who was actively working could still do this without making any special provisions at work. So they don't have to get special requests.
And so there's no huge impact,
care of families, right. And it was able to open up our volunteer base tremendously. And that's how we found this great desire of people who are just out doing their daily life, that they want to come, but they just needed the venue. They needed the ability, and they needed someone to facilitate. So what we do as an organization is we do all of that legwork. We always go before the main group comes to any project. We assess the feasibility. We verify that there is indeed a true need in that area. We also verify that there are no current local medical groups, medical personnel who are already doing the same work, because our goal is not to undermine the local medical community. Our goal is to add and to facilitate and to work together with them. So if the local medical community in a particular area is already doing the work that we could do, we won't go there, because if the need is already being supplied, we don't want to undermine them and make them weak in any way. So we won't go. And then what we do is we do all of the pre-planning. So, we take care of, food, clean water, lodging, transportation. We take care of all of those things. So when the volunteers come and they have only, a certain number of days in which to work, they can, sort of hit the ground running and get right to doing what they do best, which is taking care of patients, seeing patients, organizing, et cetera.
How many hours a day do the volunteers work, as well as yourselves?
That's a really good question, because we try to set it up so that we can avoid, excessive fatigue. Because, if a volunteer gets sick, then that volunteer is unable to do the things that they took time off to come and do. So we will set it up. We usually start at about 7 a.m. We set up for a good, decent breakfast and some good hydration, and then we go and hit work. And we always try to set an ending time so that we obviously, we have to promote safety. We have to make sure that in certain areas, if there's no electricity, we need to finish well ahead of when the sun sets because that's our primary source of light, et cetera. But our volunteers are so passionate that once they start working, very frequently they're there 12 hours a day just because they won't leave. And, at certain points, we as leaders in the organization, we actually have to cut them off and say, at this point, we have to go. We'll be back tomorrow, et cetera. And we try to regulate that. But our volunteers, I have to tell you, when they get started, if they could, I'll bet you they would go 20 hours a day. And very frequently, when we're working in a hospital, when we're doing procedures, the group will stay together and people will not leave until the last patient is finished.
That's amazing. That's wonderful. Another question that I had that was, I think, really incredible. I've heard that teenage volunteers also go with you. And I wanted to know if you had like youth programs or something that can help these teenagers, learn and go along and do basically what you do.
Sure. Elise, I have to tell you this, the whole thing that we've been doing, there have been a number of sort of, I guess you would say, surprises, things that have surprised us over the years. And I have to say our youth volunteer program is probably one of the biggest and best surprises that we had, because we initially started basically with all adults, and our volunteers are so passionate that so many of them came back to us and said, I'd like to bring my daughter, I'd like to bring my son, I think they would love this. And some of the volunteers were quite young. Our youngest volunteer to date, I think, was about 8 or 9 years old.
Right.
And at first, we were very hesitant because we said, well, first of all, what is a child going to be able to do? How much are they going to contribute? We have to keep track of their health. Who's going to watch them? Who's going to, be there with them? And what we have found, honestly, is that I think that our youth volunteers, and they have grown over the years in number, they actually not only have gotten the most out of the trips, they've also contributed tremendously. So if I could just give one example, we went to a town that we go to regularly. It's on the border between the Dominican Republic and Haiti. And this border area here, it's a real, they call it La Frontera, and like the frontier. And it's an area where, healthcare is definitely in great need. And on one trip, we had so many requests for bringing youth volunteers. We actually designed one particular trip where we had, I believe it was about 20 volunteers under the age of 21. And honestly, the organizers of that trip, we were actually kind of dreading that trip. And I said, my God, this is just going to be the most difficult, just horrendous trip that we're ever going to do. And that still goes down in history as probably one of our most successful projects. And mostly, I have to say, a great deal of that success was because of those youth volunteers. So these kids all were requested to set up a project that they wanted to spearhead. They communicated with each other. We were working with a school for children with special needs, and these kids went there and they were able to set up projects with the children there. They helped in the hospital. They helped with sterilizing instruments. They helped with transporting patients back and forth, organizing supplies. We did some pediatric surgery. They were in charge of, playing with the kids, getting them relaxed, getting them, kind of calm before the surgery and after. And these kids took full responsibility in an area where, there was almost no internet, there was, no Xbox, no television, no snacks. It was a very difficult place in which to work. And they rose to the occasion in a way that we would have never predicted. And watching them bonding with their parents and seeing their parents at work, seeing them do what they do, seeing them, taking care of patients, seeing them organizing, doing non-medical work, it was one of the best trips that we've ever had. And many of our volunteers say it was kind of life-changing for their family, even to do that together as a family. So we've now started our Life is Great Youth Forum. where our youth volunteers are having their own sort of section on our website and ability to communicate with each other. And this includes as well young physicians, physicians in training, other healthcare professionals in training, et cetera. And it has become a tremendous part of our organization.
That is so incredible. That is so amazing. And we are just smiling listening to you speak because this is so incredible. We love this. This is amazing.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with the kids and how they manage to survive without their electronics, without being plugged in.
If you think about it, though, they're put in a situation, and there are other children around and other people, and
they rise to the occasion.
They're just incredible.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Can I share one story with you?
Of course, share
sometimes,
everything.
Sometimes when we go to places and we work, and we'll get donations of things like stuffed animals, as an example. And I remember very early on when we were first starting out, I remember thinking to myself as a physician, saying, what are we bringing all these stuffed animals for? These kids, they need medication, they need bandages, they need wound care. They don't need stuffed animals. And when we were in the school for special needs, like I said, we learned a lot. And the director of the school, when we were talking afterwards, and she said that one of the most valuable donations that we brought were the stuffed animals. It was one of the pediatricians who went with us. His name is Dr. Garbarino from New Jersey. He had gotten a whole bunch of stuffed animals that we brought. And she said that, a lot of the children in the school, don't experience love and kindness. Sometimes we go to areas where children with special needs, may still be seen as, sort of a curse from God or, not understood. They become someone who is sort of shunned by the community. The family members hide them within the house, et cetera. And they have very difficult lives in these areas. And they said that sometimes, they don't experience that kind of love. They can't express it because they have no one to whom to express those types of feelings. And so she said that sometimes when we donated those stuffed animals became the recipients of affection from these children, and it was the first time that they could express themselves in that way, and that was one of the most valuable donations that we had brought. And when we were leaving after that one trip that I told you about where we had the 20 young volunteers, the school, they wanted to say thank you to us, and they sang songs. They had a couple of kids go up and say what did they enjoy the most. It was almost like a summer camp that we had set up, and the children went up and they said that the thing they enjoyed the most was being able to play with the American kids, and that they were able to play with other kids from other countries, and they said that was what they loved the most. And literally, they played basketball, they did hula hoops, they did nail art. I mean, just all these little things like that. They did crafts, and they loved it. And it was sort of a time where other kids came to see them and wanted to be with them. And I think that was one of the first times where they experienced other children wanting to be with them. And, things that we think may not be valuable sometimes end up to be the most valuable of what we do.
I only wish you could see our tears right now because I can't. I get so choked up.
Yeah,
We're
and I'm
so
a big
emotional.
wuss. I'm a 200-pound wuss.
Oh gosh, that's just so incredible, and I just can't say enough about what you guys do. It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
We're very, very impressed here.
And we were so happy to hear about it. We came actually to know about LIG Global Foundation through our fabulous friend, Dr. Deborah Keegan, who's also a member of the board of this amazingly charitable foundation. So I just wanted to say that because we just adore her.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We do as well. Let me tell you, she's an extremely valuable member of this organization.
Oh, we know.
Tremendous work.
We know that.
Yeah, big shout out to Dr. Keegan. We love her here.
Yeah, she's like pint size. And so great and so big.
She is the director of our gala committee. So she's running we have our annual gala coming up in October, and the theme is global greatness. We're the Life is Great Global Foundation. So the theme is global greatness, and about how all people, when they give of themselves and share, life. There's a saying, life is good. So what we all believe is that when we give of ourselves and share with others, and all of us feel this way, life is not just good, life is really great. And that's what we're celebrating at that gala in October.
It's
And
the law of
anyone
attraction.
who wishes to support in any way, through our website can easily make a donation there. It's ligglobal.org. And like I said, it's just such a wonderful celebration of this type of sharing. It's truly sharing, because as much as our volunteers give, all of them say they receive back even more than they could ever give. And it's not just giving, it's sharing. It's a two-way street every time.
That's exactly what we always say. It's the law of attraction.
Yes, it is.
When you give, you receive 10 times what you give. And that's how we always believe.
It's very humbling.
The gala, if there are some of our listeners or other guests that have been on our show, they wanted to attend, would they be able to attend the gala?
Absolutely. Of course. Absolutely. That would be fantastic. The more people who come, the better. We would love that. And again, all the information is on our website. And of course, I think you have our email addresses and our contact information. People can contact us directly at any time. And as you said, Dr. Keegan, she's directing this and really is in charge of getting this going. I'm sure she would love to hear from anyone who has any interest in it. We're really looking forward to it. It's just such a wonderful thing to share this experience. We can't wait to share with people.
When everybody who's listening right now, if anybody wants to attend, wants to know any more information, just reach out to us and we'll absolutely send all of the information that Dr. Timapori is actually talking about.
How informative is this, Elise? You just don't get this information anywhere.
I know. It was incredible. And you know what, Anthony? Tune in next week to hear more with Dr. Timapori and LIG Global Foundation.
You'll be glad you did.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got lips? Want that perfect pout? Find the hue that's right for you. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Shape, stain, and shimmer. Same shade. Say hello to beautiful.
Email us now from AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
Do you know what today is?
Yes,
I know you do.
but I know you want to say it.
Yes. It is the Great American Backyard Campout Day.
Yes, it is.
It is so cool. Now, everybody out there, take the pledge to camp. Camp in your backyard, your neighborhood, your local park, your state park. Your cabin, your RV, and your treehouse. You name it.
That was the exciting thing for me.
I love tree houses. I love camping out. When I was a kid, I love tree houses, and we had a couple of kids in the neighborhood. And
say you love tree houses again.
I love tree houses.
You see, he's just so excited right now.
When I was a kid, we had a kid in the neighborhood whose uncle was very, very cool, and he built us a tree house.
Oh, that is cool.
And he bought a tent. And
did you ever fall out of the tree house?
I never did.
Oh, that's good.
Never fell out of a treehouse.
I was wondering what happened to you, though, why you're the way you are. And I was thinking maybe it had to do with that, but okay.
But we would get in sleeping bags in the treehouse, and he had a tent, and we would sleep in the tent. And we would do this during the summer, a couple of times. And we loved it. We had flashlights. We told stories. We stayed up all night.
I did this too. I love this also. My sleeping bag.
Yeah. And
I loved it. Do you remember the color of your sleeping bag?
It was green.
Really?
I think they were all green when I was a kid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that must have been a very long time ago, because you see, when I was a little kid, and
blue?
No, mine was multicolored, and it was bright neon yellow on the inside.
Oh,
it was pretty.
That would keep me awake.
It was pretty.
But we would start like a little fire, and we'd have a pot on the fire, and we would put baked beans and hot dogs in the baked beans and have the pot on the fire.
Did you do marshmallows like we did?
We did marshmallows on a stick.
For dessert, yep.
It was on a stick. Yeah. And this, if you have kids, do this with your kids.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Don't
worry about the bugs.
Oh, there are no bugs out there.
There's bugs.
You spray.
Girls know that there are bugs. Don't worry about the bugs.
We had
it's
this
okay.
thing that we'd get at the gas station. It was a coil, and you'd burn it, and it was some kind of citronella thing, and we got it at I think it was the Gulf gas station. I don't remember.
Okay, so it took
And
care
it
of all
would
your
keep-
bugs?
Yeah, it
The
would keep the
mosquitoes?
mosquitoes and everything away. But, remembering back, it was some of the most fun times that I had as a child.
Growing up.
Growing up, sleeping out, in the tent, in the backyard. Trust me, do this with your kids. They will love it.
Yes, and another fabulous benefit. It's the mind, the body, and the spirit. It just benefits from just being outside in the earth, and just it strengthens your whole being.
It really does.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
really
I have
does.
some great memories.
Connect with the outdoors and your children.
You'll be glad you did.
Makes a big difference.
Absolutely.
Need a salon that's about the whole you? Precision haircuts, flawless makeup, impeccable nails, top-rated professional hair products. Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a hairstylist who has his finger on the pulse of all the latest trends? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for a dependable salon with over 35 years in the industry? Anthony Vincent Salon. Looking for New York City and internationally trained stylists that will create the perfect look for you? Anthony Vincent Salon. Shine brightly while walking down the aisle. Anthony Vincent Salon. For longer, thicker, beautiful hair extensions, Anthony Vincent Salon. Incredible makeup applications for weddings, proms, or any special occasions. Anthony Vincent Salon. Have dry, brittle summer hair? Get a hot shot. Anthony Vincent Salon. Before you put a ring on it, manicure it. Anthony Vincent Salon. Your image is their specialty. For the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Anthony Vincent Salon. For a more beautiful you, call now 609-448-2212 and follow them on Twitter.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got lashes? Come and get them. Thick, full, and flirty. Individual plumes introduced to your own. No need for anything else. Bat away. Say hello to beautiful.
Email us now from AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
And you know what today is. It's a very special day.
Tell me. Do share.
Today is the anniversary of when Jaws, the movie, was released in 1975.
I have to just tell you, I was never so scared in my life. I would not go in the water. Every time you turned around, it was dun, 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 dun.
Nobody went into the water back in 1975
I'm
after
telling
that
you,
movie.
it was
crazy.
so scary.
Yeah.
It was so scary. Do you remember that movie?
Yes, I do. Tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, I'm going to just read you a little blurb about it.
Okay.
When a young woman is killed by a shark while skinny dipping near the New England tourist town of Amity Island.
That was my favorite part when
I'm
she was
sure.
skinny dipping.
I'm sure. Police Chief Martin Brody, who was played by Roy Scheider, wants to close the beaches. But the mayor, who was played by Murray Hamilton, overrules him, fearing that the loss of tourist revenue will cripple the town. So ichthyologist Matt Hooper, Richard Dreyfuss, and grizzled ship Captain Quint offer to help Brody capture the killer beast, and the trio engage in an epic battle of man versus nature.
Mm-hmm. And you know what the most famous line from that movie is?
Do share.
We're going to need a bigger boat.
Yeah. You know what? I was talking to somebody about it. They used that as one of their headlines for their management meeting.
Oh.
Yeah. We're going to need a bigger boat. Mm-hmm. Yep. The director, Steven Spielberg, great movie. Amazing. Everything he does, amazing.
Yes. Stream it tonight. You'll be glad you did.
I'm Anthony Vincent of Anthony Vincent Salon. Time for another fun and fabulous beauty tip with our tip chick. And here she is.
Got lips? Want that perfect pout? Find the hue that's right for you. Easy as 1, 2, 3. Shape, stain, and shimmer. Same shade. Say hello to beautiful.
Email us now from AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Remember, for the 150,000 hairs on your head, there's only one choice. Call us now at 609-448-2212. You'll be glad you did.
Elise, you know,
What, Anthony? What?
I got a habit.
What's your habit?
It's a bad habit.
Tell me.
Should I stop cracking my knuckles?
I crack my knuckles. That's not a bad habit. I've been doing it for years.
You have?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've been doing, no, seriously, I have to just say this one thing. In 5th grade, my 5th grade teacher said to me, "Oh my God, Elise, if you don't stop cracking your knuckles, you're going to have arthritis by the time you're 15.
Oh, no. There seems to be that long-standing uncertainty as to whether cracking your knuckles can be beneficial, harmful, or harmless.
Well, I'm going to just tell you one thing. I don't know any of what your findings are, but I've been cracking my knuckles since I'm 10 years old, 9 years old actually. And I don't know why. I love cracking my knuckles. I've been doing it forever. My knuckles are not obscenely big, and I don't have arthritis.
Very good. So you just feel like it loosens your joints, or
It takes the air out of the pockets in between my my fingers.
so you enjoy the sound.
I love the sound. Wait. I love the sound. I like the way it feels, and it's a habit. And I've been doing it since I'm like 9 years old.
Now,
Oops, I just did it.
so let's take a look from a scientific point of view.
Okay, tell me.
Okay. The cracking of the joint, that's really caused by the negative pressure to temporarily introduce nitrogen gas into the joint, which is exactly what you said just a second ago.
Okay, I didn't say it like that, but okay.
Now, also, the cracking sounds can also be the result of tendons snapping over tissue during minor adjustments along that path that they glide over.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. How do you know so much about this? I know. Oh, wait.
Yeah, I'm Anthony.
You are Anthony freaking Vincent,
Anthony
and you know
freaking
something
Vincent.
about everything. Okay, so is it a good thing to crack your knuckles then?
Well, to date, there really hasn't been any scientific evidence singling out that knuckle cracking is the cause of arthritis, like your teacher told you.
Yeah, she did. She told me that my knuckles were going to be absolutely huge. Let me just tell you something. My knuckles are not huge. My rings fit on my fingers, and I wear normal average sizes.
Okay.
It's true.
And you're correct. There was a study by Dr. Donald Unger. It was published in 1998. And what he did is he had cracked the knuckles on his left hand at least 36,000 times over a 50-year period.
And never cracked the knuckles on his right hand?
Never.
See, I
Not
would have had a
once.
breakdown. I am too much of a balance freak to do something like that. I do both hands at the same time.
Well, he was doing a study. Now,
I understand that, but I mean, my God. But there was no difference with either hand?
That's right. After 5 decades, he reported that neither hand had developed any arthritis whatsoever.
All right, I've been doing mine, seriously, for 4 decades, and I have never had a problem with my hands. I just like to crack my knuckles.
Well, and
Do you crack your knuckles?
no, you do.
Oh, that's right. I do crack your knuckles.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, so then you don't actually do it on your own. But I actually do crack my knuckles. See, I just did it again. I do it all the time. It's like a habit.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Well, there was.
I'm going to crack your knuckle. Give
you
me your
want to do
finger.
it now? All right,
Yeah.
do it on. Let's see if the microphone will pick it up.
Okay. No, it's not. Oh, there you go.
All right, do the other one.
Okay. Oh, no. Stop making that face. I'm not twisting. Here, let me have your other
Well,
hand.
you can't talk while you're cracking.
Oh, did you hear that?
I don't know. You were talking.
No, I wasn't. You know what, though? You can't not have any. It's like dead silence. I got some of your knuckle cracks.
Okay. Now you can crack my knuckles like that, but never pull my finger.
Oh, I never will pull your finger.
In fact,
I'm
don't
smarter
pull
than that.
Any guy's finger ever.
I know that. I know. I once pulled his finger, guys. Not a good thing. You should have just seen what I looked like after the chaos.
Well, getting back to the arthritis thing, there was another study that was done by the Uniformed Services University of Health Sciences in Maryland. And what they did is they studied a group of 214 participants at 20% of them who regularly crack their knuckles. And at the end of the study, just a little over 18% of those have developed arthritis in their hands. But however, over a 21% of the non-cracking participants also developed arthritis in their hands. So it seems that 20% of individuals, whether they crack their knuckles or not, will develop arthritis.
Well, it won't be me because I would have had it by now.
Okay.
I'm serious. My grandmother had arthritis.
Did she?
Horrible rheumatoid arthritis. Yeah, in her hands, and they were all bent, and it was painful, and it was horrible to look at. And yeah, I won't have that.
Arthritis is just an inflammation, and I thank God that I have no issues.
Thank God you don't, because you wouldn't be able to do what you do if you had it.
That's right. And but when I was talking to a doctor, the doctor had mentioned that, again, arthritis is simply an inflammation. And if you can cut down the inflammation, you won't have the pain.
It's the inflammation of the joints, of the cartilage in between the joints, I believe. Did you ever hear of something called costochondritis?
I did not.
Okay, that's like an arthritis, but it's actually the inflammation of the cartilage in the rib cage between the joints, and it makes it very difficult to breathe. I actually had that years ago. And that can be brought on by anxiety or stress or things like that. And I was in a very bad car accident years ago, and that's when I had that. But that's
when all your teeth were knocked out. And
no, actually, that was no. I don't have dentures. No, my teeth were actually broken. Honestly, not from the car accident. Come on,
tell the truth. Your whole top plate comes out.
No, it doesn't. Not from the car accident. It was from when I actually fell into a brick wall.
Oh, I dated a girl that
had no teeth. I know. You liked her.
I really liked her. Yes.
I know you did. We don't have to say why.
No, of course not. She was a very, very nice girl.
I know. She just had no teeth. But bump.
Toby, how you doing, honey? Give me a call.
Ew. Toby, don't call him. He's gross. He's gross. And don't pull his finger. I'm sure you know that.
She was very nice.
She was.
She was cute, too.
I'm sure she was.
Cute.
I'm sure what... Oh, gosh.
And the girl could cook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, be careful of those girls that can cook, though. They put some really weird things in your food sometimes.
You've been listening to Trend Radio, where we talk about what's hot and what's not every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Learn and laugh with us anytime, any place. Go right to our website, AnthonyVincentSalon.com. Click away and listen today.
And if you have a topic of interest that you want us to talk about, or you'd like to be a guest on our show, email us now at trendradio920@gmail.com. You'll be glad you did.
Remember, your smile is your logo, your personality is your business card.
And how you make people feel, that becomes your trademark.
I'm Anthony Vincent.
And I'm Elise.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Bye for now.